Hello everyone, and welcome back. I'm Ray. I came across a funny story that is also controversial out of Botswana. A certain pastor and businessman known as Sekati Kemenye decided to marry two wives and wed them as well. So it is controversial because he is a pastor, so Christianity doesn't allow someone to have two wives, especially if you're even a pastor up to that level of being a Christian. But this gentleman believes that, you know what, I cannot be satisfied by only one wife, I need a second one, and he also decided to wed all of them. So he didn't do it in hiding, he put it out there. There are two beautiful women and they have very many children. Some of them are already adults. And according to him, his words, he said he married the second wife because she is younger and sweeter than the first one, apparently. So she shared some certain picture on Instagram, showing the wives, and the kids on a vacation, all wearing matching t-shirts, spelling the words love and all that. So according to this pastor, he says, polygamy is an African culture and there is nothing sinful or abominable about it. He goes on to predict that very soon in the future, polygamy will creep back and even religious clerics in Africa are going to embrace it. He called people who oppose polygamy as sinful pretenders and also mentioned many biblical characters who married more than one wife. This is very interesting. So this pastor goes on to say that, his father had two wives. His mother was the second wife. Quoting his words, I grew up in a happy family and even today we are siblings, like all the kids of the wives are siblings and our children and grandchildren are a family. The father's first wife had 7 kids, then his own mother, there were 11 of them, and they all just grew up in one compound, as happy together. So it is quite funny. I think it definitely takes from his background. If the dad was polygamous, then I see why he also became polygamous as well. So the person who officiated the marriage of this pastor to his two wives is a traditional leader, and they did a traditional wedding, with his two wives, and officiated everything and celebrated and all that stuff. So the leader made some interesting comments, which I think you just need to listen to. So he said in the Setswana culture, which is a culture of the people of Botswana, when a husband has intentions of marrying another wife, there should be consultations between him and the first wife. So he has to first seek approval from the first wife to bring in wife number 2. So men should know that before marrying another wife, they should get consent from the first wife. If she disagrees, there will be no wedding. The husband should also be able to take care of his children and his wives. I believe give them enough, love for everyone. Provide for them, in the household, make sure everyone is comfortable. He added that stability of the country is well known because it begins at home or at family level, which is true. Like what he did by officiating a polygamous marriage. So in the culture, polygamy is a culture thing, and in the culture, polygamy is not negative. Polygamy is if the husband decides to bring in wife number 2 and wife number 1 agrees. So you all be in one home, you raise your kids together and everyone is happy and, it's a happy family. He went on to say that it is imperative to revert to the olden and conventional ways of raising kids, unlike the modern ones. He says there is an upsurge in gender-based violence because of the current poor family structures. Most fathers abandon their children, they do not take up responsibility in upbringing the children. You may find that kids are just raised by a single mom, or sometimes raised by the single dad, maybe. So when the mothers raise their kids as single parents, like the boy child, they'll just grow up without a father figure in their lives. It says that people have abandoned the cultural way of how kids used to be raised, raised by everyone at home, raised by every adult, not just an individual. Kids were raised by the community. Everyone would punish the kid. Everyone would raise the kid. It was like a community thing, back in the day for raising kids. But we've abandoned that and went on to the modern way. It says girls and boys were taught how to become responsible tribes people and citizens by the elders, and that is no longer the case. We are faced with high divorce rates because we have abandoned our culture and the Swana marriage. That's what the tradition leader says. And this is kind of true because back in the day, when a man had 2 wives, for some reason, they all grew up old together. I don't know how that used to work. But I know very many of, old men today, like grandparents or great-grandparents, when they had 2 wives, everyone was happy, They were not fighting with each other or divorcing or breaking up. But for some reason, in the modern day, 1 wife, 1 husband, 3 months later, 2 years down the road, divorce. I don't know how it used to work anyways. Of course, the gentleman was very happy after wedding his 2 wives. The wives are also, very happy, all hugging and lovely with each other. It's just love. So I'm just going to quote his words, what he said. People have been having different views on our union across social media platforms, but I want to tell Botswana people that me and my wives are proud of our Setswana culture, and I would like to thank Bakatha and Bagwesi. These are the dads of the wives, or the families where the wives come from, for allowing me to marry their daughters in a polygamous marriage. But since then, the pastor has closed down his church because this is very controversial. Definitely, if someone is Christian, they don't believe in polygamy. Because the Bible says, 1 husband, 1 wife. Be faithful to your wife and love her alone. I know that verse somewhere in Proverbs. So this is quite very funny, actually, He wants to be a pastor and preach about Christianity, but then practice, traditional practices. So I don't know which one is. It's just funny, guys. I don't know what you think, but if it works for them, that is perfect. If they're happy, that is perfect. Everyone should just do whatever works for them, I think. If they're just a happy family, if the kids are happy, if the 2 wives are all satisfied, if the guy is doing his job, then who cares, So I'm trying to figure out, I don't know how they do it. They have like 1 bed, do the wives have different houses? I don't know how it works, but they all seem to be a really happy, happy family. I think it's working for them, which is great. Share your thoughts in the comment section and let us know what you think about such a kind of arrangement.